Okay, I normally don't record like this, but I brought the wrong laptop. It doesn't have too much power, so I can't record the screen and write at the same time. So we'll do it this way. Hopefully you can see, you can zoom in, hopefully. All right, so the first question to me, is a Venn diagram question, okay? So what you need to understand is that there are 100 sodas. There are some that are diet and they're caffeine free. Okay? And there are some that are caffeine free only, right? Not diet. But again, there are some that are diet and again, caffeine free. Right, so there's 3 types of soda. So here are all my diet sodas. Here are my CF, my caffeine-free sodas. And then the one in the middle, the intersection, are the sodas that are diet and caffeine-free. So you have to understand that. Now, there are 100 sodas. It says 65 are diet, which means that in this diet circle, including that space, so let me put, there's 3 numbers we have to look at, it's including that one. So the diet, and let me call it A and B. A, B, and C. So diet sodas are the A, right, and the B. So the A represents sodas that are only diet, and B represents sodas that are diet and caffeine free. Now in the other circle, we have the caffeine free. And the caffeine-free are all the sodas that are only caffeine-free, plus B, which is the diet and caffeine-free. Because B represents all those sodas that are diet and caffeine-free. Okay? So let's start with that. So the first information we have is that 65 are diet. So A plus B has to be, from this equation, right? Have to equal to 65. Right? And then 30 are caffeine free, so I can take the second equation. 30 has to be C plus B, right? The caffeine free circle, which is made of the parts B and C, the intersection in the middle, and all the sodas that are caffeine free. But then they have this little clue over here. Of the diet sodas, 22 are caffeine free. So of the diet sodas, which is this one here, 22 are caffeine free. So they are diet and caffeine free at the same time. So which would be this number here in the middle, right? 22. So if I can come back to the equation, I write 68 equals A plus 22. I can find what A is, right? So if I go and then I subtract 22, I get that A is 43. So I have in the diet circle 43 sodas are diet only, and then B, which is the sodas in the intersection, are how many? 22. These 22 are diet and caffeine free. They're still diet, so they have to be in the diet circle. So now I can come back here and I can put some numbers in here. I can place, so I have 43 sodas here. I have 22 sodas here. And can I find C? Well, C says that there should be 30 bottles of soda in the C circle. Well, in the caffeine circle is made up of B plus C, but I already know what B is. B is 22. So can you find out how much C is worth? Oh, well, minus 22, and C equals 8. So now I have 43 plus 22 in the middle, plus 8. If you add that up, there's 73. Right? Now, that doesn't equal the 100 sodas. So obviously, there are some sodas in this particular universe that are not diet or caffeine free. Okay, there's some other type of soda. So, and how many of them are there? Well, if you subtract 73 from 100, yes, you're gonna get 27. Then we have 27 bottles over here. that are, what do you call, neither. All right, so I think, and that's what the question is looking, how many of these 100 sodas are neither diet or neither caffeine free? So they don't belong in these circles. There's 27 of them. I don't know, there may be orange juice, orange caffeinated juice or something, orange something juice. Well, anyways, the probability is 27 to 100. So if you were to put all these sodas in a container and you close your eyes and you pick one up, you would take the probability of you getting one that is neither diet or caffeine free would be 27 out of 100. Okay. 59. Well, 59 is just a matter of, cross canceling. So the next one that I assigned was 63. Okay, so we have $60 original price for the shoes. It was marked down by 20. So if you mark down by 20 and you want to know what you're responsible for, well, you're responsible for 80% of the shoes, right? So let's say that's the only discount you have and you want to find out how much you're going to pay. Well, you would do 60 times 0.8 and that gives you, so that means you're paying $48 right now, right? You multiply this, it's $48. But then all of a sudden you have the second discount. So from the reduced price, you're going to take another discount. So if you take discount 10%, you're now responsible for 90% of your shoes. So we're going to multiply that by 90. And then 48 times 0.9, you're left with $43.20. B. So this is step by step. If you wanted to, you could have written 60 times the first discount. After this first discount, you're left with 80% of the value. And then the second discount, you're left with 90% of the value. So basically that's what we did, right? 60 times 0.8 and 0.9. Let me just look at them. 67. Now, if you want to do the other ones, that's fine. I would definitely suggest you give this whole thing a shot. So 67, Q plus R plus S equals 117. We know that Q equals S and S equals 4R. So wherever I see Q, I'm going to replace it with 4R. That's going to stay as 4R, as R, sorry. And S I'm going to change to, 4R. Well, now it's just combine like terms. 4, 5, 9R equals 117. Divide both sides by 9. And R equals, it looks like it's 13, which is A. Okay. 70. Compact disc randomly selects CD player, randomly selects a song. There are 3 ballads. So let me write what we have here because we want the probability, right? So 3 ballads, 4 instrumental, X number of dance, and that's it. And then we have a total, right? That we don't know as of yet. So the probability of that the first song play will be 1/4. What's the total? So if P of, so if you were to press play and the probability of picking a ballad is 1/4, what was the number at the bottom? Well, we can set up a proportion, right? Ballads is 3. All right, so we're looking, so 1 out of 4, 1 is, so if you, when you set up your proportion, here's what I want to write. Let me rewrite that again. They tell us that the probability of getting a ballad is 1/4. Now, 1 represents the ballad, right? And 4 represents the total. Now, if you set a proportion and you label everything, on the top, what happens when there's 3 ballad songs? What is the total? Well, what's the relationship here? Right, we multiply the top times 3 and you multiply the bottom by 3 and therefore we get 12. So H is 12. Sorry, 70 is 12. 71, a little tricky. I did not read this well when I did it. So there are 150 tests given. Oops. there's 150 tests given. At what point, right? At what point would 1/3 of the tests will be given? Right? At what point? At what month would 1/3 of the tests be given out? Well, 1/3 of 50, 1/3 of 150 is 50. So after how many months, right? After how many months will we have 50 tests given? Okay. So in September we have 5. Let me put some numbers here. In October, I'm gonna say that looks like a 8. November looks like 11. December looks like a 14. January looks like 18. Okay. So if we, do I have to do, well, let's do February. So let's add. We add 5 plus 8 plus 11 plus 14. Let's go up to 18. Let's see what we get. 5 and 8 is 13. 13 and 11 is 24. 24 and, what is this? 14 is 38. 38 plus 18 is 56. So it looks like January, right? I don't even need. So by the time January hits, I would have given 1/3 of the tests. Okay. That was that. 72. Yes, let me erase that. Okay. What do we want here? 5Q equals 3R, which equals 30. So this one you can separate these two. So on one side you can find Q. 5Q equals 3R, and then you can write 3R equals 30. By doing this, I can actually find the value of R. So if you do the second one, 3R equals 30, and you divide both sides by 3, R equals 10. So now you know that R equals 10. And now that you know what R is, you can come and substitute that on the other relationship. So we get 5Q equals 3 times 10, 5Q equals 30, divide both sides by 5, and Q now equals 6. But our question is, what's Q times R? Well, Q is 6. So Q times R is 10 times 6, which you get 60. So 72 is H. Alexa's travel in the car, 75 by the way, an average speed of 130 kilometers per hour for 6 hours and 24 minutes. What is the distance to travel? Well, one thing you have to know is the distance equals rate times time, right? So to find the distance, you multiply the speed times however long. Now, this is the speed was in kilometers per hour, right? So D, our distance, the rate was 130 kilometers times time. So now the problem is the time here is 6 hours and 24 minutes, and you have to write 24 minutes in terms of hours. So you needed to write 6 hours and 24 out of 60. That's what you needed to do, and the rest is just multiplication, right? So you get 130, and we're going to simplify this. 6 divided by 12 is 2, divided by 12 is 5, and again, let's change this to an improper, 30, 32 over 5, right? And this is what you end up multiplying at the end. Can we simplify? 130 and 5. 5 goes into 13 2 times 26. Sorry, what did I do here? 26. So 26 times 32 is 832. So 26 times just 32 equals 832. So the distance traveled 832 kilometers. Okay. Could you have done it another way? Well, yeah, you could have done 130 kilometers times 6, right? 6 times 0 is 0, 18 goes 1, 7, 80, and then 24 minutes out of 60 is 2/5 of an hour, right? And you could have taken 2/5 of 130. I don't know if that's easier for you to do, right? So again, this is 26. 26 times 2 is 72. Sorry, 26 times 2 is 52. And then add the 52 over here, and you get a 32. However you want it. Okay, so nobody's going to check your work or how you got your answer. So it's whatever gets you there correctly. Okay. What number was that? 75, 76. Michelle's assigned 50 push-ups in gym class. She has done 20 in 40 seconds. So Michelle does 20 push-ups in 40 seconds. Assuming the same rate, how many more seconds? Okay, what the heck? Hang on a second. Michelle's assigned to do 50 push-ups in class. She has done 20 in 40 seconds. Okay, so she needs 30 more. Assuming the same rate, how many more seconds will it take to complete the second? So she does 20 push-ups in 40 seconds. So if you subtract 20 from 50, she needs to do 30 more. How long would 30 push-ups take? And that's your proportion. So how many, that would take X seconds, right? So we can cross multiply. You just what do you call it? You could have simplified this, which we can. So if you want to write 1 over 2, you can. So X equals 60. So how many more seconds? It would take her 60 more seconds. Okay. 76, 77. Finally a distance rate question. Okay. All right, so we have two categories, up the hill and down the hill. And that's how I'm going to set up my table, okay? So if you remember, it's R times T times equals D. He travels twice as fast as downhill as uphill, and it takes 30 minutes round trip. He travels at a rate of 18 miles per hour on the trip home. So here's his home, and to go to school, he's gonna go uphill. So up, down, and 18 miles per hour on the trip home. So going down is 18, which means up the hill would be 9, because it says here he traveled twice as fast downhill as uphill, right? So it's half the time. Now the whole time to go up and down takes 30 minutes. So how long did it take him to go uphill? Well, we don't know that, so we're gonna call that T. And what would be the time downhill? Well, the time downhill, we know the whole trip takes half an hour, so we're gonna write we're gonna write half, not 30, but write half, or 0.5 minus T, which is the time that it took him to go uphill, right? So that is our T expression. So now, what is the distance? Well, the distance right now is 90. Remember, you have to do this Trinity proper here. 18 times a half is 9. 18 times negative T is negative 18T. All right, so we have the distance represented, the distance uphill is represented by 9T, and the distance downhill is represented by 9 minus 18T. So what do we know about both distances? Well, going up and down, they're equal to each other, right? Because it's the same distance. So that's how you set up your equation. 9T equals 9 minus 18T. We have variables on both sides. Make sure you get rid of one. We're going to get rid of the plus 18, minus 18. We're going to do plus 18 on this side. That goes away. 27T, right? Because we're adding, equals 9. Divide both sides by 27. And T equals 1 over 3. What is the question? How far away is his school? Well, now that we know what T is, we can just come over here and either plug 1/3 over here in the first expression or at the bottom. You're gonna get the same answer. So to find the distance, now that you know what T is, 9 times 1/3 cross, and there you go, 3 miles. What if you did it at the bottom? Well, 9 minus 18 times 1/3. 9 minus 18 times a third of 18 is 6, and 9 minus 6 is 3. So it doesn't matter which one you used, you got the same answer, which is 3. What is next? an eight-sided die. So it's a die with 8 sides. What's the probability? The first one will be 3. What's the probability of 3? And the second one will be 8, right? So it's an and, so make sure you multiply. What's the probability of getting a 3? The probability of getting a 3 is actually 1 over 7 because the die can never be rolled as a 6 for whatever reason. So you only have really 7 choices. What's the probability of getting an 8? Again, the probability of getting an 8, well, there is one side there's an 8, and there's 7 other choices because one of them is not there for whatever reason. So, final answer, 1 over 49. Hopefully the video is coming out decent. 82. Here's a line segment. Has a length of 12, so this whole thing, RT, is 12. Let me write that. Okay. Segment ST is 1/6 of 12. What's 1/6 of 12? 1/6 of 12 is 2. So if that means that's 2, which means RS is now 10, right? What is the ratio of the length of the segment ST? So what's the ratio of ST to the length of RS? That's what you're looking for. So ST is 2, and RS we know is 10, and obviously they simplified, so 85 is F. No, 82, sorry. 82 is F. Okay. 83. Here we have, all right, so I highly suggest that if you get a question, if you read the question, right, I would suggest that you draw it out. There's a number line 16 units apart, so here's A and here's G. So we don't know what A represents. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There you go, 16 units apart. Point D is the midpoint of AG. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here is point D, which is the midpoint, right? 8 up to the left, 8 to the right. Point X, which is located at -3 on the line, is the midpoint of AD. Well, let's find the midpoint of AD. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So point X is right here, which is the midpoint of AD, and they're telling you that this is -3. Now that makes life so much easier right now. So now you can actually go and start filling in everything else. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is -4, -5, -6, -7. So which of the following is the possible midpoint of XG? Well, from -3 to 9 is how many units? It's 12 units, right? So you can count 6. Well, if it's 12 units, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right here. There's the midpoint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Between X, they want the midpoint of X and G. X is -3, G is 9, so there's 12 units between them, and halfway mark would be 6, right? Right, 6 units, right here, 6 units. And 83 is C. There you go. Number 3, this on the number line is the halfway point between point X and G. Perfect example for a great question about how you should draw it out so you can visualize it. Okay, so you order an awning with 16-inch letters. So you want your letters to be quite big. I'm just picking up, right? And you're making the letter H or whatever letters your customer asks for you, and you want them to be 16 inches. It has to be 16 inches. But your machine sometimes makes them a little too big. So if that's the case, your customers actually told you that he's willing to accept as long as it doesn't go over 4% of what I asked you for, then he'll take the order. Meaning, so if it's 16 inches is what he wants, and what is 4%? So what is 4% of 16? Well, if you multiply that, and 4%, by the way, oops, 4% is 0.04. So let's multiply that and see what happens. So 4 is 24, carry 2, 64, right? And we want 2 decimals. So this is how much bigger, right? Because 4% is 16. So if you return the letter H that he asked at 16 inch, and it just in case, and it's actually 16, and add this 4%, and it's 16.64. Your customer says he'll take it, right? Because it's 4% above of what you asked, and that's okay with him. So final answer F. What you could have done also is just take 16 and multiply that by, what's the increase? 1.04. That would have given you straight up 16.64. 85, do we read? No, we don't have to do 85, right? It's too easy. 86, the number of minutes in 3.4 hours is which of the following? So again, you can set up a portion, 1 hour, 60 minutes, 3.4 hours is X, and just multiply. Right, so you get 60, 3.4 times 60, 24 goes 2, 20.4, 204, 1 decimal over, and there you go. This one, let me just make it a little bigger. Okay, why is this not erasing? Okay, here we go. Law of exponents, we've done this year. So, and this doesn't even deal with negatives, so it's much easier. Now this, so again, it's everything in the parentheses multiplied by itself 3 times. So if you didn't know how to do this, right, one thing you could have done is expand it. And only if you didn't know what to do. Right? They're all being multiplied. Remember, there's a little dot that's just not right. That's all multiplied. Now, what we could have done is simply, well, first of all, don't forget that there's an exponent of 1. In this case, the shortcut would be what? Every exponent inside the parentheses multiplied by 3. So the final answer, really fast, is 2 to the 3rd, a to the 9th, b to the 6th, t to the 15th. That's your answer. Okay, that's your rule or the shortcut that we learned in class. Now, if you didn't learn that, or if you didn't know what to do, you could have expanded, right? I mean, you know what the 3, this little 3 means. It means everybody inside the parentheses get multiplied by itself 3 times. And that's what I did, right? This times this times this. But now, and if you still don't know what to do, you can expand it a second time. So we get 2, and instead of a 3, you can write a times a times a. B second, 2 b's, t is 5 t's, right? They're all being multiplied. And again, expand the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the third one, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all t's. Now, you've learned this in class. Now, it's because it's multiplication here, where I can move things around. All the 2's, 2 times 2 times 2. What is that? Well, it's 2 to the 3rd. All the a's together, there's 9 of them, I believe. What happens when you multiply 9 a's? What's the shortcut of writing that? Well, it's 8 to the 9th. Is it? Right? And then the b's, well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be b to the 6th. What about the t's? Well, I'm not going to write all down, but it's a short way of writing 15 t's being multiplied is t to the 15th. The answer to this, well, I guess here they actually changed this 2 to the 3rd to the 8 equals to 8. So the answer that we're looking for is C. 87 is C. 93. Ratio of apples to bananas is 5 to 4. The ratio of cherries to bananas is 2 to 5. What is the ratio of apples to cherries? This one, let me see if I can write this a little better. So we can write apples to bananas, and then bananas and cherries. Let's see if I work. Where is it? Cherries. Apples is 5, bananas is 4. Okay, so no, I don't want to do it that way. All right, so if you know that the apples, bananas 5 to 4, cherries is 2 to 5, we want to know, one way I would do it is, what happens when there's 4 bananas? Hang on a second, guys. Maybe write this a little better. Apples, bananas is 5 to 4. Bananas to cherries to banana. Cherries to bananas equals 2 to 5. So let's see how I will do this. Well, I want to how do I do this? Why don't I, using this proportion here, why don't I use 2 to the 5th, right? 2 and 5, 2 cherries to 5 bananas. And let me find out what happens when there are I'm going to change these two ratios so they have something in common. So when there's 20 bananas, right, so times 5, this would be there's 25 apples. And over here I'm going to change the bananas to 20 again. So when there's 20 bananas, there is times 4, and this is times 4, so that would be 8 cherries. So the ratio, so now notice that I'm comparing both the same amount of bananas. I can say that when there are 25 apples, I have 8 cherries. All right, so I use the banana as my common denominator. Okay, I'm comparing apples to the same amount of bananas. I'm comparing cherries to the same amount of bananas, and then I got the relationship between apples and cherries. Okay, again, this is just one way. All these questions, if you have something that worked out even faster, that's okay too. 95. Okay, so 95 is just a substitution problem. So what do we have? X is -2, so -2 to the second power. Please make sure you put that in parentheses because it makes a huge difference. Times y, which is 4, plus y, which is 4, over -2. So that's what we have here. Order of operations, this is 4 times 4 plus, and I'm going to take care of this, is +4 over -2 is -2. This is 16 minus 2, which gives me 14. 95 is C. What's the next one? 96. Run the club is divided into 3 teams, A, B, and C. Each team must challenge to run around the track as many times as possible. The table below shows each team's greatest number of loops run and the range of loops run with that team. What is the overall range of loops run for all 3 teams? I think I understand this question. So the range, right? So if you look at Team A, the most that they ran was 74. So and the range is the highest minus the lowest. If 74 was the highest, right, and you subtract 14, that means that the lowest was 60. Likewise was 19, if 77 was the most that they ran, and 19 is the range, so if you do 77 minus 19, you get that the least that they ran was 58. 78 minus 12, and that gives us 66. So what is the overall range for loops run for all three teams? So the overall, well, the highest was 78, right? The highest was 78. So range is the highest minus the lowest, and the lowest of all three was 58. So the range is 20. There we go. 96 is 20. Okay. What's next? 96, 98. 98 is, I think this is a prediction question. Okay, let's read it. There's 30,000 doctors. At 30,000, 18 of the doctors treat children and 15 of the doctors perform surgery. What is the lowest number of possibles to treat children and perform? So another Venn diagram. I mean, for me, okay, so here's what we have. We have these doctors over here only treat children. And these doctors over here, they do surgery. Okay, so what is the lowest number of possible doctors who treat children and perform surgery? Right, so what number can we put in this section, the middle section? So remember, there's three numbers here. For this one, I would do, there's 30,000 doctors. Okay. I would do a guess and check, personally, on this one, because I don't have enough information. So let's say I put 12,000 over here. I put 12,000 over here. The number of doctors to treat children is 18,000. That means this would be 6,000, right? And doctors who do surgery is 15,000 minus 12,000 gives you 3,000. Okay, so does that give me 30,000? No, that gives me 12,000 plus 18,000. Sorry, 12,000 plus 9,000 gives me 21,000. So that doesn't look like the right answer. What's the lowest number of doctors who, okay, but 12,000 works. Let's do 9,000. If it's 9,000 in the middle, that means there'd be 9,000 over here because I have to add to 18. And over here, 15 minus 9,000, this would be 6,000. 18 and 12 is 24. That seems to work. If I put 6,000 in the middle, that means there'll be 12,000 over here, and that would be 9,000 over here. And that would be 15 and 12 is 27,000. That also works. But they want the least. Well, let me put 3,000. What happens if I put 3,000? If I put 3,000 over here, I would get 15,000 over here, right? Because 18 minus 3,000 is 15. And 15,000 minus 3,000 gives me 12,000. So 15,000 plus 12,000 is 27,000 plus 3,000 in the middle. There we go. That's the answer I want, because that gives me a total of 30,000 doctors. If I add all three parts, 15 and 12 is 27. 27 plus 3 gives me 30. The other ones didn't give me a total of 30. Okay, which means that I would have had to put a number in here, but I don't think that's what they asked. So H is that answer. 98, 99. recent elections, between 60 and 70% of 1,000 registered voters cast a ballot. What is the minimum number of registered voters who did not cast a ballot? What is the minimum? All right. So if I do 0.6 times 1100 and then 0.7 times 1100 and 0.7 times 1100, let's see what that gets me. 0.6 times 1100, that gives me 660. And then 0.70 times 1100 gives me 770. So that means between 660 people, 660 and 770 people voted. So the minimum amount of people who voted, if the minimum amount of people who voted, the maximum number of people who did not vote would be the difference between 1100 and 60. Right, so that would be 0, 4, 10 minus 6 is 4, and then sorry, 0, 10 minus 6 is 4, and then 10 minus 6 is 4. So the maximum number of people who did not vote would be 440, but that's not what they're asking us. So if the maximum number of people was 770, the minimum number of people who did not vote would be 1100 minus 707. So 0, 10 minus 7 is 3, and then 10 minus 7 is 3, so 330. Oh, there we go, letter A. Where are we? 99. 101. Express that in scientific notation. Well, scientific notation has two parts, right? Second part is a power of 10 as a positive or negative exponent, and this one has to be a digit between 1 and 10. Okay, between 1 and 10, which this is not, and neither is this. So let's do them part by part. So 100 is, so if you take this apart and break it up into two parts, 27.8913 times 100. Well, that 100 has to look like this. And we're still not done. Now, if I move the decimal 1 over, that becomes 2.78913. 2.78913, and because I moved it 1 to the left, why can I write a 3? I actually made it small, so that's actually moving it 1 to the left. So, oh, you know what? Sorry, ignore that. Ignore that. I'm making that so much complicated. So 27.8913 times 100. If I multiplied that by 100, I move the decimal 2 over, 1, 2. Let's just do that. So my new number becomes 2789.13. This is what I can change to, what do you call, scientific notation. Well, scientific notation, we're going to make this number here, we're going to change this number, right? So I'm going to move the decimal once, twice, 3 times, so that's 2.78913. I move the decimal 3 times, and it becomes 10 to the third. There. Apologies, I don't know what I was thinking in the first part. So much easier. Okay, so again, just the easier way. 101, 102. Okay, so Q, right, represents all the even integers from 2 to 36. Okay, so 2 inclusive, so including the 4. So 4, 8, all the even, sorry. 4, 6, 8, 10, I would write this down, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 36, right? So, and then Z is all the integers, what? Multiples of 3. All right, so all the multiples of 3, I'm not gonna write all down, but 3, 6, 9, I'll write it to 36, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, all right? And then obviously more this side and more that side. So how many integers are common to both sets is the question, okay? So we have 6s, we have the 12s, we have the 18s, we have the 24, we have the 30, and we have the 36. So that is 6. What was that? 102. So 105? Can't read my handwriting. Ooh, I like this question. So there is a jogger. The radius is r. There's another jogger, bigger circle. This radius is r plus 4. How much further does the second jogger run? Okay, so circumference here, right? Circumference is pi times d. So again, well, it depends on your preference. Circumference pi times d, or circumference is 2 pi r. Same exact thing, whatever you want. So I like to use this one, but just because they gave us in terms of r, we're gonna use that. Okay, so the first guy, the first jogger, let's find how much he runs. Well, and let me erase this. We're gonna use this. C equals 2 pi r. Right, find the circumference, the distance that the first jogger ran. C equals 2 times pi, and then it's r. So that's how much the first jogger ran. The second jogger, what's the radius of his circle? Well, the radius of his circle is 2 times pi, and the radius is actually times r plus 4. And we're going to put that in parentheses because it's 2 terms. Now, to make that a little bit more, that is 2 pi r plus 8 pi. Okay, so that's what, because if you do it discrete properly and you multiply 2 pi times r, you get 2 pi r. 2 pi times 4, you get 8 pi. So the question is, so this is how much the second jogger runs, right? The question is, how much further did the second run from than the first? Well, now it's just a matter of subtracting. So 2 pi r, which is plus 8 pi, that's how much the first jogger ran, minus what the first jogger ran. And you notice that this and this are like terms, but with opposite signs, so that gives me 0. So the second jogger runs this much more than the first. 105 is 109. Oops. 109. I need to do 106, really? 102. What did I just do right now? 105. I don't know if you guys want, well, you guys let me know if you did the age question there, and then 106 is what I assigned. Oh, I did assign one. No, I didn't. Again, you guys let me know. This question, nice question. If n is greater than 1, greater or equal than 1, then what is the answer to this question? Well, let's make n equals 1. Alright, I picked a value. If if I pick that one, I get 1 to the first power plus 1 plus and then plus 1 plus 5. So that's 1. 1 to the second power is just 1. 1 to the fourth power is 1. 1 to the fifth power is 1. And 1 to the sixth power is 1. So that gives me an answer of 5. Okay. And it didn't matter what you picked for n. Okay. What is this? 109, 112, 112. If x plus 2y equals 6 and z equals 7, what's the value of all that? Okay, so x plus 2y equals 6, z equals 7, and we want to find what 2x plus 4y plus 4y plus 4y plus y. Let me finish recording. Plus, it's okay. Plus z equals. So now, if you notice, that's the easy part. That I can replace with 7. And 2x plus 4y is actually double this value, right? If you multiply this by 2, you get 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times 2y, which is 4y. So 2x plus 2y is double the value of x plus 2y, which is just 12, right? So that makes it much easier. Final answer, 19. I think this is it. If there's anything that I missed, well, obviously the ones that you tried on yourself, you can let me know next time I see you.